But so we have some amazing AWS solution architects here that are going to talk about what happened at AWS reInvent in 2024. And I was really busy, so I missed reInvent. So I'm looking forward to this recap. So we have Isaiah, and I'm sorry,
Narcisse,
Narcisse,
Narcisse, yeah.
Ajay, and Mengdi, who are all from AWS, and they all are amazing specialists in their areas. And take it away.
All right, thank you, Joanne. I will just quickly introduce myself. So, hi everyone, I'm Narcisse Zekpa. I'm a senior solutions architect, been with AWS for 4 years now, and I specialize in Gen AI or in AI and data. Nice to meet you, and looking forward to this session. So, I think I will let my colleagues introduce themselves as they start speaking, and I think we can kick us off with the presentation if that works for everyone. Awesome.
Yeah. Are you
All
gonna?
right. Oh, or maybe you want to do a quick round of intro, and then we jump into the slide. Up to you.
Yeah, no worries. I didn't know what you're gonna do the intro, so but I'll just introduce myself real quickly.
Yeah,
Isaiah
yeah,
Salinas,
go ahead.
specialist solution architect, work on the cloud operations team here at AWS. So primarily specialize on CloudTrail, config, control tower, all the services under cloud ops we'll be talking about today. But happy to be here. Help answer any questions y'all have too as well.
Awesome. I'll go next. And my apology, my camera is for some reason it's not being recognized. But my name is Mengdi Chen. I am a solution architect at AWS as well. Been here about over 2 years. Previously works on the product team as well, specializing in cloud operation in the observability world. So some of you guys may see me in the user event in the Tampa area that we often speak there in person. So we have one more joining us later on today, but he's running a little bit late, so we'll let him do his introduction when he's get to his slides. But Narcissus, go ahead, kick it us off.
All right, thank you, Mengdi. Yeah, so let's kick this off with generative AI. Of course, we had to talk about generative AI. It was front and center last year, the previous reInvent, and last year as well. So yeah, let's get started. And so from day one, we've been strong advocates of providing as many options as possible to customers when it comes to foundational models and Gen AI. And so we're doubling down on that concept. We rolled out the Bedrock Marketplace, which will allow customers to get access to more than 100 of foundational models from providers like up-and-coming providers or like leading providers, simply again with the mindset of offering you as many options as possible, and so customers will be able to deploy those models, set up an endpoint, and then start using them with all the capabilities that Bedrock has to offer: agents, knowledge bases, you name it. We also introduced another way to bring options and give access to more models. So customers had been asking us for a while, can I deploy my SageMaker Jumpstart models into the Bedrock? Now it's a possibility. So you can import your model from SageMaker into Bedrock, deploy an endpoint, and as I said earlier, just start using it and integrate it with the rest of the Bedrock ecosystem. We also announced new and upcoming models with some model provider we work with, starting with Poolside. So this is a coming soon announcement. So they're not available yet, but we're pretty excited about it. They're gonna release or roll out, make available their flagship models, Malibu and Point, which are specialized in complex software engineering tasks. And like coding assistant and cool features like developer intent detection and those kind of things. So pretty excited about it. Luma Ray 2, which I think is now out. It was coming soon, like as of reInvent last year, but now it's available. I think it was released maybe last week or 2 weeks ago, which is a text-to-video model, so which allows you to generate with text high quality videos. And Stability AI, who released their latest version of Stable Diffusion, the text-to-image model with Stable Diffusion 3.5. We also introduced new models of our own in the name of the Amazon Nova Foundation models family, which brings the number of total models available within Bedrock to 24, 25, I think, in that range. And so they come in two groups: understanding models and creative content generation models. So I'm going to quickly go through those models one by one, and just so you understand what they bring to the table, what they're good at. And so from left to right, starting from Micro, Light, Pro, Premiere, Canvas, and Real. Micro being a text-to-text only model, which is um, very good at high volume, lightweight tasks, text understanding, Q&A, translation, math problem solving, but is also like super fast, lightning fast, and like really low latency, 200 token per second throughput. So really well suited for those use cases where you need a fast response at a low cost. And you can also customize the model and fine tune it. Next, we have Nova Lite, which is a multimodal model. So that's the smallest of the multimodal models, which basically means that it supports, in addition to text, image and video as an input and produces text as an output. So in addition to the typical text-based tasks, Q&A, RAG, text understanding, and so on, it also supports image understanding, video understanding, and comes at a really low cost, interesting price point for customers, while also delivering lightning fast performance. Fine-tunable, customizable as well, same as with Micro. The next one is Nova Pro, which is like one step further in terms of intelligence and sophistication and reasoning capabilities. And so Pro brings the best blend of latency, cost, and accuracy, which are the three dimensions that you want to look for when you're selecting a model. And so that's what Pro brings to the table with advanced capabilities in terms of reasoning. And so you can do agent orchestration, complex agent workflow, like multi-step reasoning, and so on. Fine-tunable as well. And also those three models can be fine-tuned with your own data or using a technique called model distillation that I will talk about in the next slide, using a larger model. A good segue to the next one, Premier, which is like the most advanced model of the family, which is great for really complex reasoning tasks, but also can be used as a teacher model to fine-tune the more smaller models. And then the creative content generation models, Canvas allows you to do text to image. And so text to image, and it comes with some cool customization feature. You can do in painting, out painting, background coloring, and so on. And Reel, which is a text to video model, like allows you to generate 6-second video for now, and we're looking to extend the duration, and with like really cool features and really engaging videos. So I briefly spoke about model distillation. So the main point of this capability is to help customers that reach a point where they selected a model, they like the output, they get reliable results, but it's still too expensive or too slow. And so now with model distillation, you can distill the knowledge of the larger model into a smaller one through fine tuning. And so model distillation will generate synthetic data automatically, and then use this synthetic data to fine tune the smaller model, providing you low latency at a lower cost, but still preserving the intelligence and sophistication of the larger model. So, and then you can see the numbers here, up to 5 times faster and 75% of cost reduction. So when it comes to using generative AI model, the accuracy and the quality of the output is like paramount. And so we came before reInvent, customers were able to use a feature called Foundation Model Evaluation, or FM Eval for short, to select the right model for the use case. And they could use their own data to do that. So the issue is bringing your own data is that it takes time. You need to label the data. It's time consuming and expensive. We're bringing two new capabilities to the table here to streamline the process of continuously monitoring and assessing the quality of your GenAI solution, starting with the knowledge base of the evaluation, the LLM as a judge, sorry. So now you can use an LLM to assess the output of your model. And so the LLM will generate metrics, accuracy, I don't know, response refusal rate, harmfulness, and so on. And so you can make a data-driven decision as to whether the model really or the solution meets your needs or not. And so you don't have to label any data. The LLM as a judge will do all that for you and generate those metrics. The second capability is RAG evaluation. Having worked on that a little bit, RAG evaluation is really hard. There are so many components to take into account, and so many components that can actually change the trajectory of the response and the quality of your RAG index. And so what we're bringing here is an automated way, streamlined way to continuously assess the quality of your RAG index by generating metrics once again to track dimensions such as accuracy, faithfulness, relevance, powerfulness, and so on. So two really promising capabilities to help customers just like make their life easier when they use use GenAI. We also made some pretty significant, or deliver some pretty significant improvement around Bedrock agents. So on the left-hand side, custom orchestration. So when we release Bedrock agents, initially it comes with a built-in, we'd say reasoning workflow, if you orchestration capabilities or chain of thought orchestration, if you're familiar with the term. I do if I don't, sorry for the pop-up here. What should I do if I want to take control over the orchestration mechanism? So that's what we're providing here, custom orchestration. So you can decide when the model can use which tool or use which knowledge base for further customization capabilities. Multi-agent collaboration. This is for really complex use cases where one single agent is not enough and it becomes cumbersome to maintain and evolve. So that's where you want to break it down and use the multi-agent construct. And so we bring this as a built-in feature within Bedrock that supports orchestration. There is an orchestrator agent that manages the communication and the orchestration across like multiple agents and consolidate the response, generate the output back to the user. I'm not going to spend too much time on the third one, inline agent, but just like think of it as a way for you to create an agent on the fly at runtime using code, as opposed to pre-configuring it through infrastructure as code. All right, guardrails. Before re:Invent, so I think most of you were aware of Bedrock guardrails and the ability to set boundaries around what the model can generate, and also what the model can respond about. So we're adding two new capabilities, still in the responsible AI ecosystem, if you will, or domain. Automated reasoning. And so automated reasoning will allow, in cases where you have a set of like really fixed and constrained policies, you can just upload those policy documents into automated reasoning. It's going to generate a set of rules for you, and then those rules you'll be able to use them to assess the accuracy of the model, still to reduce hallucination, if not eliminate, or at least reduce as much as possible. So, and the multi-model toxicity detection allows you to, through configuration, filter out harmful content or like depending on the domain and the sensitivity of your workload, make sure that you filter out the content that is not appropriate or that you deem inappropriate using GenAI. So you must be familiar with Amazon Q Developer, which is our developer productivity tool, although it doesn't do only developer productivity. So we've added a few capabilities to the code transformation group of features. The code transformation is the part of Q developers that allows you to retire tech debt and modernize your applications. Before you had the Java code transformation that was available. You could go port your code from Java 8 and 11 to Java 17. And so we're adding on to this, we'll say, tool belt. You can do this. You can do the Java code transformation through CLI now and bring some more automation as opposed to driving it from the IDE. We also introduce features to break down the code transformation as opposed to doing it as a atomic unit. You can now see the list of proposed changes and then selectively choose the one that you want to push to your repo or to commit. We also rolled out in preview .NET porting or .NET code transformation, which allows you to move from .NET framework on Windows to .NET cross-platform on Linux. Why it's important? Because a lot of customers are eager to save cost on their .NET workload by eliminating the cost of the OS cost. And it could be a tedious task to refactor the code from the traditional .NET to .NET Linux. So that's what the developer can help you accelerate and just like go and take care of the refactoring of the code and also suggesting rollout plan and like a wave plan of like how you want to release your changes into your application. And the last one, code transformation for mainframe. So it doesn't necessarily transform your code, but it will. Q developer will scan your mainframe code. Say you have an old application in COBOL, you lost the knowledge because everybody left, or like the last employee who was knowledgeable about it left. Q developer will help you regain this knowledge by looking at the code, generating documentation, generating migration plans, and helping you breaking down the application into microservices down to generating the code on your behalf. All right, so let's move to a contact center and Amazon Connect. So we introduced automated agent evaluation. So this feature is really useful for contact center managers who are looking to continuously evaluate their agents, evaluate performance, how well they respond to customer issues. And so typically it comes in the form of questionnaire. So this capability allows to automatically fill the questionnaire on behalf of the manager so that they don't have to do it. And so they can do it at scale and then receive the results, look at the output and start like making change management and like training staff or tracking the trend of the certain agent performance. The next one, I like this one. We're basically providing Connect as a self-service like tool channel. And so Connect is well known for the agent-based interaction. So it allows you to at scale deploy your contact center workforce. We're also now adding as a first line of defense added option to our customers, the ability to deploy a chatbot so that you can use it as a frontline customer service option and optimize your contact center resources utilization, deflect things that are easier and that customers can resolve by themselves in autonomy. And so the chatbot can answer questions, take action on your behalf, and when it's really running out of resources and ideas to help you out as a customer, pass the ball down to an actual live agent. So the agent will have history of what happened and suggestion as to how to address your request. All right, let's move on to a SageMaker. So we announced the availability, GA, of SageMaker Unified Studio. And so before, customers were able to leverage a slew of or the breadth of our analytics and AI services to build their data pipeline, train ML models, deploy them from Glue, EMR, Athena, which is great, but they were still on the hook for kind of like piecing things together and integrating those services to make sure that they have an end-to-end experience. So now we're bringing that end-to-end experience like part of us as a single pane of glass within SageMaker. So the SageMaker Unified Studio will allow your data persona, data engineers, data analysts, ML engineers, and so on to basically operate within the same environment through the entire data continuum using like a single tool. And so it has built-in Jupyter notebooks, SQL editor, a Bedrock IDE to build GenAI applications, and more. Not only we're unifying the studio experience, but we're also unifying the way you access your data through Amazon SageMaker Lakehouse. So SageMaker Lakehouse allows you to get access to your data in a unified way, regardless of where the data is coming from and where it's stored. And so in this example here on the visual, you see that the data is coming from a DynamoDB database, Redshift cluster, and Snowflake, and you may also add like a data lake from within S3. And so through the usage of Iceberg as a unifying layer using the open format, you can federate access to your data and write a SQL that spans across, write a SQL query, for instance, that spans across Redshift, Snowflake, and your S3 buckets, so that you don't have to do all that data movement that you would technically have to do if you were to marry this data. So really reducing the data movement and like moving further into the zero ETL concept. And not only it helps you streamline access to your data through that unified access, but also comes with a got a data access control layer integrated with lake formation, and also the Glue data catalog, so you can implement fine-grained data access rules. So you can do that like while enforcing your compliance requirements. And so with great tools come great responsibilities. The data unification would not scale well without a good data governance layer. And so that's what SageMaker AI and data governance provides. So SageMaker AI and data governance integrates with the Amazon Data Zone. And Amazon Data Zone already allowed customers to empower data producers to publish data products, and then leverage Data Zone to publish those products and control access to those products and make them discoverable and allow consumers to subscribe. So this is what we're bringing into SageMaker, that ability to connect data producers and consumers, and automate that connection so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel, and producers can focus on building good quality data products. Consumers can focus on drawing insight or like help making decisions faster and better. Those kind of like critical tasks for any business. So in our world, which is very fast changing, it's highly likely that once you have your data strategy, your data platform in place, and all the pipelines, we need to make change, and you might need to make change like on a weekly, daily basis. One challenge with complex data ecosystems is that when you make a change, say on the left-hand side of this diagram, how do you know what downstream impact is going to have? How do you assess the blast radius of the change? And so this is what we're looking to solve here by providing data lineage. So you would be able to kind of get a view of where you might introduce breaks when you're making changes, and see the through and through lineage traceability of where the data came from and what type of transformation it went through. Next one is analytics. So Q for QuickSight you were already able to use Q for QuickSight to drive things like natural language querying, or have Q generate visuals and insights, like data insight reporting on the fly just by typing your question. But you still needed to know what you were looking for. What we're bringing here is another layer of abstraction where Q is going to provide a guided approach, so that you don't have to, like, removing some of the guesswork. Okay, what kind of question should I ask? What kind of predicate should I use in my query? With the concept of scenario. So you ask a question, high-level question, and then Q for QuickSight with infer, okay, we need to pull this data from there and that other data from there, and come up with a game plan, analytical game plan to answer your question and do that like seamlessly, automatically for you on your behalf. So you get access to your data and insight much faster than before. We're also introduced, we rolled out the support of unstructured data. So until now, or recently, Q for QuickSight supported natural language querying on structured data, or tabular data, if you will. So now we're joining both the structured and unstructured data domains into one, with the interface, so to speak, so that your charts, visuals, business insight is also complemented with more context. And so that context will come from documents and all your unstructured data sources that you have available. Redshift multi-data warehouse, right? So this is useful for teams, decentralized teams, or like teams who collaborate on the same data warehouse platform, or have the tendency to collaborate on the same data warehouse platform. This has the drawback of sometimes just creating bottlenecks. And so when you run a large batch, then you're basically forcing the other teams to queue their requests and wait for your batch to be done. So we're introducing the multi-data warehouse rights to allow you to break down your data warehouse into like smaller data warehouse that are fit for purpose. So you can manage the workload, the priority like better, also better utilization of resources. And also it comes with the capability of fostering data collaboration by replicating the changes that you make within the smaller data warehouse into a bigger one, consolidation data warehouse, or primary data warehouse, if you will, so that you don't have to do the data copying. You work within your own ecosystem, and then it gets replicated into the consolidated data warehouse. Having worked with AWS Glue for a few years now, especially in the early days, I know that sometimes it can be tedious to build a Glue connector. If it's a well-known data source, then that's easy. If it's not the case, and you have to really get into the documentation of the API of that data source and so on, and managing the authentication and so on. So that can be time-consuming. So that's why we're expanding the list of built-in connectors available within AWS Glue to make it even faster and easier for you to build your data pipeline. So we're coming with a new list of out-of-the-box connectors to well-known data sources. So you see ServiceNow, Slack, and so on. And I suspect this list to keep going up as we go. And with that, I will pass it on to Isaiah. Thank you. So I will let you share your screen.
Hopefully you can see my screen. All right, let me just get to there we go. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about CloudOps, cloud operation releases that were released during reInvent, and also some of the security and compliance releases too as well that were released during reInvent. So our first one we'll go ahead and dive into is resource control policies. So this was a new type of policy that was released. It's a component that complements SCPs. Many have used SCPs at the organizational level to control, the maximum allowed permissions on an IAM principle. Resource control policies will allow you to define the maximum allowed permissions at the resource level. So some of these resource control policies could be applied at the organizational level, at the OU level, or also at the account level too as well. And some examples of where you would use a resource control policy is, for an example, if you want to set up specific permissions on your S3 buckets, and you want to set a policy that will allow access to your S3 buckets to any principal defined in your organization, but you want to disallow any external IAM principles. This is where a resource control policy will come into play. You can define these policies, defining what type of IAM permissions you want to define at the resource level. So definitely a great policy to start diving into how you can use that in your organization. It will provide you another way to provide those preventative controls at the organizational level. So definitely complements to our SCPs, which also will allow to define preventive controls too as well. Another area of policies that was also introduced in reInvent were declarative policies. So declarative policies is another management type of policies that you can apply at the organizational level. These type of policies you can apply also at the OU level and also at the account level. This allows you to apply a policy that allows you to do what's going to be a durable intent. And these specific policies currently supported are under EC2 VPC and also, I believe, EBS. And this allows you to define specific preventative controls. One example of this would be if you were to apply a declarative policy at the EC2 level. It provides you specific areas where you can define specific properties. So for an example, when it comes to an EC2, Say, for example, you want to apply a declarative policy that you set throughout your organization. You want to define that you do not allow any public use of any public AMIs. You can define this as a declarative policy. So you can also apply a declarative policy that you only allow certain AMIs that you would like to use to as well. If you want to prevent any public access to your VPCs, this is another type of declarative policies you can apply to as well. It does allow some reporting mechanisms where you can see how you're currently doing within your organization. It gives you a sort of a baseline and where you can apply certain declarative policies within your organization too as well. So moving on to some of our observability releases that were released during reInvent. One in particular under observability was we released an AWS Observability Solutions. This is great because it allows you to make use of predefined solutions that you can apply either at a specific workload. So for example, we have some some solutions that you can actually deploy that will deploy your observability metrics, any other type of services within our observability when it comes to perhaps managing Nginx, Amazon, Apache Grafana, and other applications too as well. You can also utilize these observability solutions to also help you apply observability when it comes to specific workloads. So if you're looking to apply, metrics or observability within a specific your containers workloads or EC2, we have predefined already solutions where you can go ahead and deploy those as is, or you can actually customize those solutions and specifically select which ones you want to define. These solutions also provide you specific guidance on what would be recommended to be deployed. And so it takes away all that time and effort that you normally would put in place as far as deploying each of these components. Now, these are all wrapped into prescriptive guidance as far as what you can deploy, how you can monitor it, and how you can get metrics in your specific workloads. So another release within our observability is adding additional data context. This was a nice release because what this allowed you to do is it allows you to basically get all the contextual relationships when it comes to your workloads and what you're monitoring. So it provides a one dashboard where you can click down to all the related resources that are going against your monitoring your observability. This allows you to basically get relevant telemetry data that you're gathering. What are the affected resources? What are the related resources? And really drill down into all the specific observability metrics too as well. One other release was our Amazon Q developer operational investigation. This is actually under your, if you go under CloudWatch under there's an AI Ops section. This is where you can start making use of Q developer operational investigation. This allows you to start up an investigation when it comes to specific CloudWatch alarms, or you can also start up investigations in other various aspects in the console. You'll see this already integrated in various services where you may have specific alarms or alerts, and you're going to see an option where it says Start Investigation. What this is going to do, it's going to use Q Developer Operational Investigations to basically now look into your alarms, look into your CloudWatch logs, also utilize CloudTrail data to basically utilize generative AI to basically give you an analysis or insights into what went wrong and also provide you recommendations. Q Developer Operational Investigation will also make utilize of systems matter automation runbooks to help you remediate those sources too as well. Another area where you can also trigger an investigation is you can tie this as an action when it comes to your CloudWatch alarms. If you like to look at a demo, I put a QR code there that you can go ahead and scan and actually show you a live demo of how Q Developer Operational Investigation works. We're also going to have a further deep dive on this next week in our CloudOps show channel too as well, which I'll paste in the chat too as well if you're interested to dive a little further on how the Q Developer Operational Investigation works. So another area within our observability space was we added database, CloudWatch database insights for our Aurora databases. This is an area where you can have a single dashboard to get all the telemetry metrics of your databases, Aurora databases, includes various metrics, provides curated dashboards as far as what you would want to monitor within your database. It provides SQL query metrics and allows you to get these metrics to an overall fleet of all your databases within you're utilizing Amazon Aurora. Another area was integration with OpenSearch when it comes to your CloudWatch logs. So if you utilize CloudWatch logs and specifically like log insights, you're going to notice that there is two additional query languages that are now supported. It's now supporting OpenSearch PPL and also OpenSearch SQL. So you have additional SQL query languages that you can write your queries when looking into your CloudWatch logs. You can also integrate this, it integrates with zero ETL with OpenSearch, and this allows you to utilize OpenSearch dashboards, which we have predefined curated dashboards that will provide operational insight into those logs that you're gathering with CloudWatch. We have some curated dashboards when it comes to CloudTrail logs, VPC flow logs, that you can start making use of this and get visualization components to those CloudWatch logs that you're ingesting within your log groups. Another area when it comes to your CloudWatch logs is an enhanced enhanced log analysis. This allows you to select multiple logs when doing your query. Another nice thing is you can also actually do a transform and enrich your logs. So say, for example, you are sending specific logs to CloudWatch log groups. You can actually set up a translation job that will actually translate those logs into a predefined format that you would like to have within the CloudWatch logs. You can also provide indexing within your logs, and this will allow you to help with the performance and make those log insight queries a lot more faster too as well. So definitely an enhancement when it comes to log analysis. Another area is container insights. Within the container insights, there were some enhancements made where it provides further visibility in specific metrics at the task level, at the container level. It provides some curated dashboards that you can get overall telemetry when it comes to the performance of your containers too as well. Now, moving on to some of the releases that we had within CloudTrail. So we had some releases around CloudTrail Lake. So for those that perhaps may not know what CloudTrail Lake is our managed data lake for CloudTrail. It basically will track and record all API related activity for CloudTrail, similar to what we use CloudTrail Trails. But one in particular was that we released with CloudTrail Lake was enhanced event filtering. So what this allows you to do is previously we had filtering when it came to data events. So you can provide filters and as far as what you're ingesting within CloudTrail when it came to data events. Now with enhanced event filtering, you can also do filtering with management events too as well. So you can apply these filters not only on data events, but also management events. But we applied additional fields that you can also filter by. One in particular is our user identity ARN. So this is very helpful because say, for example, you have specific jobs that you want to exclude or include a specific IAM principal. You can actually now apply these type of filters not only in data events, but also in management events also as well. Another release that we had within CloudTrail Lake was we went GA with our natural language query and also provided in preview a summarization. Now, the way this works is within CloudTrail Lake, one common thing that customers have is that basically we have all this data within CloudTrail, but we may not know how to write a query in order to get the results that we want. We know what we want, but we may not know how to write it. And this is where the NLQ comes into play within CloudTrail Lake. Within the NLQ, you could write in plain English, what is your desired query that you would like to write? So say, for example, you write a query, show me all the changes that were made in the console within the last 2 weeks. If you write that in plain English, it will actually return a SQL query that you can then use and run within CloudTrail Lake. Now, this specific natural language query language, it went GA, but it also made available this specific area available via API to as well. So some common examples where you can use this is you can actually write within Lambda or with any other type of SDK utilizing programming language. You can write, basically call the NLQ, give it what you're looking for. It returns a SQL query, and then you can then call the API to run that query and return the results. So definitely something very powerful you can make use of in your workflow. But on top of that, we put into preview summarization. And what summarization does is it pretty much does that in results. Because you have the query results. Now you need to basically understand what are the results you're getting. And this is where summarization will do. If you have a lot of data set to return and that result, you can then click on the summarization. It's going to give you a summarization of what actually happened, what occurred. You had this many access denieds. You had this many throttling errors. This specific IAM principal accessed this specific S3 bucket. It's going to give you a summarization of those results. So definitely encourage everyone to take a look at that, and you can definitely get a play with that. So another area that CloudTrail Lake 2 also introduced was cross-account event data store sharing. Within CloudTrail Lake, you can create an event data store, which an event data store basically is capturing all your events within a lake. So previously, you had an event data store where you can create at the organizational level, account level, and also regional, but you couldn't share those across account. So if you were to need to actually grab those specific events into another account, you either had to create another organizational event data store in another account and so forth. This now allows you to create, utilizing resource control policies, a policy that allows you to then define other accounts to have access to that event data store where they can go ahead and query that event data store and get the results. So it eliminates the process of actually duplicating data or moving data over to other accounts too as well. Another thing that we launched into preview was network activity events for VPC endpoints. And so what this allows you to do is when you have VPC endpoint policies or you have specific activity crossing VPC endpoints, before there was no way that CloudTrail could monitor that activity. With network activity events now provides an additional type of event where it will capture all the IAM principles, the actions taking place. If there was a denied within the VPC endpoint policy, it will capture with that in CloudTrail. So this is currently in preview. It currently is supported within EC2, KMS, and also Secret Manager and CloudTrail VPC endpoints. So one additional one when it comes to centralized operation management that was released was in Systems Manager, a new enhanced visibility of node management. So when utilizing Systems Manager, you install the agent on your EC2, and basically this will become a managed node within Systems Manager. Previously, you had to do this in every single region, every single account. With this enhanced visibility of node management, it's now in a centralized account available, either a management account or a delegated admin, where you can now manage all your nodes across your organization. It'll provide you the health of the agent and also provide you generative. It also connects to QDeveloper as far as giving you insights into the actual agent. You can actually launch a chat and say, show me how many Windows 2000 Windows instances I have, and actually going to give you a list of all those agents available to you within your node management. To get a little deeper dive on this, I have a QR code there too as well, where you can actually scan and actually give you a live demo of how this actually new enhancement when it comes to system manager works. So with that, we'll go over to Mengdi with databases.
Thank you, Isaiah. All right, let me share my screen. Cool. Now let's take a look at what's new on the database side. If it let me flip. Okay. So we released Aurora DSQL. This is a new serverless distributed SQL database that now supports active write across multiple AWS regions while maintaining a strong consistency between regions. So applications that relies on global distributed data can now operate with a high availability without managing any complex replication strategy. The Aurora DS SQL is PostgreSQL compatible and provide high availability, ensure the consistency and low latency read and write without any infrastructure management needs from your team. We also introduced the DynamoDB multi-region strong consistency. This will ensure that data is synchronized across multiple AWS regions with zero RPO. And this update is particularly relevant for workload that requires real-time data accuracy, such as if you're a finance institution that requires real-time data for your financial transaction or any real-time inventory management. And in addition to this enhancement, AWS also reduced the cost for DynamoDB's replicate operations. So single region on-demand operations now cost 50% less. Replicated write on demand are now 67% cheaper, and provisioned replicate write are now 33% lower in cost. We also expand the MemoryDB to support multi-region workloads, offering microsecond real latency and single-digit millisecond write latency. So this enhancement ensures global distributed application can maintain fast, consistent across radius compatible data without requiring additional configuration. This release also includes automatic conflict resolution, data correction, and make it useful for things such as gaming leaderboard, AI inference caching, and other real-time applications that require global consistency. As you guys probably seen the news in the past half a year or so, AWS continue to enhance our partnership with Oracle. So AWS now support Oracle database on AWS. This enables customers to run Oracle workloads on Exadata infrastructure on AWS data center. That service allows low latency connectivity between your on-premises environment and AWS, which minimize data transfer costs while ensure high availability for mission-critical data workloads that you have running. AWS DMS has been updated with several new enhancements as well. DMS stands for the Database Migration Service. So it now can support column-level sensitivity data masking. It improved validation performance for a large data set and automated migration from EC2 hosted database to Amazon RDS with the AI-powered schema recommendations, and as we've been continuously developing our AI models. These enhancements aim to simplify the process for your migration process for your database to AWS while we still continuously improve the security and performance. Next one, I think I will skip because we did have the previous observability slide touch base on this. Since we talk about CloudWatch, just call it out real quick. We're continuing enhancing these features. So the database insight is only available for Aurora. And as you know, we named it as a database insight. So we're hoping to continue to expand the service to other database support in the future. So if you guys are using it or interested in using it, definitely give it a try. And there's a feedback button in your Amazon console. So when you log in and have some feedback for this feature, please share with us. All right, on the compute side, we are always focused on providing more high efficiency instance with better performance. So we have quite a few new instance released here. So we released the Amazon EC2 IAG instance. It's designed for high performance storage workload and powered by Graviton 4 processor. If you hear the keynote that they mentioned quite a few times on this. So this instance offers up to 22.5 terabytes of local NVMe storage with a 65% better real-time storage performance per terabyte and 50% low storage I/O latency compared to the previous generation. This is great for if you have a large-scale database running analytic jobs constantly, or caching workload that requires fast local storage access. And similarly, we released the EC2 i7-IE instance, which is optimized for high density storage workload. These instances provide up to 120 terabytes of local NVMe storage, 65% better real-time storage performance per terabyte, and 40% improved compute performance over the previous generation. And this is designed for workloads such as big data processing, log analytic, or any high-performance compute in your need. And for we know a lot of companies trying to explore in their AI world, and the more you start building your models or running your tests, you will realize you need a better compute service on the line to power your models. So for AI and high performance computing, AWS has launched the EC2 P5 instance featuring the NVIDIA H200 Tensor Core GPUs. This instance provides up to 8 NVIDIA H200 GPUs with 1.7 times more GPU memory, 1.5 times higher memory bandwidth, and 4 times higher CPU to GPU bandwidth. And this instance is designed for training large AI model, any deep learning inference, or any large-scale simulation job that you have running, and it can be deployed on EC2 Ultra Cluster for exascale computing. So AWS also introduced Amazon Elastic VMware Service, known as EVS. This is to support organization migrating and modernize VMware workloads on AWS. This service allows seamless migration from on-premises VM cluster to AWS region with a native integration into AWS services and support for AWS Outposts. On the container side, we released EKS Auto Mode. This is a new deployment mode for Amazon EKS that automates infrastructure provisioning, node scaling, and network management for Kubernetes clusters. And with the EKS Auto Mode, AWS handles all cluster operations, allowing developers to focus on deploying application without managing the underlying infrastructure. And this feature simplifies the Kubernetes adoption from teams looking to run containerized workloads on AWS without having them to manage the cluster configuration manually. Now, the team also introduced Amazon EKS Hybrid Node. This new capability enables your organization to run Amazon EKS on AWS Outpost, EKS Anywhere, and other hybrid environment, and provide a consistent Kubernetes experience across cloud and your on-premises infrastructure. With the EKS hybrid node, customer can seamlessly extend their Kubernetes workload to on-premise data center while maintain the integration with AWS service, unifies their governance, and also automate their updates and patches. This feature is particularly beneficial for organizations who have data regulatory, data residency, or low latency requirement that requires a hybrid cloud environment or hybrid cloud architecture. So that's all we have on the serverless side. Next, I will hand it to Ajay, who will show you the highlights from storage, network, and serverless world. I can't see the participate word. Is he here?
Hey,
Yes, he is.
So
okay,
looks
cool.
like
I can help you share screen. You can just
yes, yeah, it is not allowing me to. So yeah, please go ahead to the next slide. Sorry for that. So I'm going to walk through the storage features that are released and networking, and then lastly the serverless. So let's go through these. As we support a lot of data for a lot of customers that are storing their data for data warehouse and data lake, which is particularly, let's say, tabular format, and they store in Parquet files. We released a new feature in the S3. It's a custom-built S3 table that is going to help the customer to store Parquet files in the iceberg format. And because this is a purpose-built bucket type, we were able to optimize a lot of performance. And you can see that we were able to get 3x the performance and a really high transaction throughput because of the optimizations that we were able to do. And as you can see, it is purpose built, and so we take a lot of the overhead that the customers has to maintain the as you know, in the Parquet files they add more and more data. It is going to create a lot of small files sometimes depending on the ingestion. All that overhead the customer has to maintain is pushed on to AWS to maintain that. So your management can be greatly reduced on that side. And as it is a first-class resource on the AWS side, you can see that it is well integrated with both permission sets and as well as the other tools that you want to analyze the data. As an example, it will be able to integrate with QuickSites, and as we are talking in the previous slides, the natural language querying, you will be able to get all that features as a part of this. Can you go to the next one? I think we went one further. So yeah, sir. Go back. There is a metadata slide. One more back. Yeah. So we released a feature in the S3 where it is going to help you greatly reduce the overhead management of trying to understand what data you are storing in S3. As you can see, a lot of people nowadays store like billions or if not trillions of data objects in S3. Understanding and retrieving files that are important to you can be cumbersome, where some people have their own metadata collection, probably in like a DynamoDB or something to understand and retrieve data. So with this feature, it will be able to help you. So when you enable this, it is going to underline use the S3 tables feature, where it is going to create a metadata tree for the default objects. And also you can actually customize the metadata that you're going to store. So that way, think of using it for retrieving a set of files. You can write a SQL query and say, hey, I need to find this type of files. Or you can also use this in terms of trying to do an audit. Let's say you are trying to see what changed in a bucket over a week's period of time if you have to. So this is going to be valuable in terms of those situations, and it makes it a lot easier. Can you move to the next one? Yeah, one more slide back. Yeah. So we released a open source component in Amplify to help you with working with the web applications to give the end users the ability to store and interact with S3 objects, where when you include this component through the Amplify UI, which is they have the default version, and also you can greatly customize it on how you present it. And the end user should be able to upload, delete, or change the files that they have that are permission bound to their individual permission set. And it is going to work with different types of permission sets. Example, Amplify, which it can be backed by the Cognito. You can also use Identity Center or even IAM roles and S3 grants. So it will be a seamless integration for your web applications to give permissions and have the ability for your users to interact with the objects. Can you go to the next one? So this one, it looks very similar to the other one, which is this one particularly hits the people that are trying to allow S3 permissions without giving them the AWS console access. So let's think of a situation where you can work with other partners or other members of your team, where you want to simply create a web GUI for your S3 bucket for you to be able to give exposure to them. So you can create a small transfer family web app to support it, and you can see that it is backed by the identity center to provide you the permission set, and it is seamlessly be able to give permissions and a web utility to upload or download the files for them. Can you go to the next one? So one of the features that we released, similar to the S3 intelligent sharing, so we released a feature as a part of the FSX for OpenZFS to able to support intelligent sharing. This will greatly reduce the cost. As you can see, if a customer has a lot of data set that is not often used, but sometimes they have some files that are often used, this can intelligently store data and serve as a part of either caching in memory, or you can enable or disable the SSD cache, and then the data that is not often used will be stored in the general hard disk. So you can see, compared to a SSD provision data, SSD provision OpenZFS, there is a up to 85% cost reduction. And who that can greatly use this is somebody that knows that, hey, I don't need to often use, but if your application needs very quick response for random reads, like sometimes databases and things like that, you still are going to go through a provisioned OpenZFS. But if it is not the case, this can greatly reduce your cost. Can we go to the next one? I'm going to go through, you can go to the next one. I'm going to go through a couple of features for VPC. So we released VPC resource sharing via private link and lattice. So what it greatly helps is that, think of if you want to share resources and expose them as a single point or as a set of services through the lattice, you don't need to create a complex web of transit gateway, or you need to go through a lot of creating like load balancers or transit gateways. This will greatly reduce the complexity and as well as cost, so that you can easily share and speed up the connectivity across different resources within your VPCs. Can you go to the next one? Yeah. As you are familiar, like we released some verified access support for HTTP and HTTPS. Now we have support for non-HTTPS resources as well. You can think of these sometimes as two different variants, where some are long running, like example, databases or Git repositories and things like that. So that is also supported, as well as if you have a situation where you have a lot of EC2 instances that come up and down, you will be able to provide access to that, where you are providing access from a whole VPC that will be able to dynamically go up and down, but you still can provide your end users a verified access through a combination of checks, not just based on username and password, right? So it greatly reduces the overhead of trying to get you on VPN for every small thing. So hopefully this is very valuable for like the customers that can reduce that network bandwidth on their systems. Can you go to the next one? Yep. So Event Bridge and Step Function Private API support. So we released a feature where your on-premises or AWS resources can be exposed to the through the event bridge or step functions, and they can access it through VPC lattice and private link. Think of like a situation where you are trying to migrate a monolith and you are trying to implement event-based architecture. So you can expose the backend HTTP APIs securely and still have that monolith be able to access, so that way you are gradually modernizing instead of a big bang approach where you have to handle you have to do a lot of effort to move a lot of things. So it will gradually, you're still having access to the old systems, but you will be able to securely expose them. And let's say we are going to the next one. Yeah, this is a very nice thing where we used to have Snapstart support for Java. Now Lambda supports .NET and Python runtimes as well. So it can reduce the startup times for your functions by basically it is going to initialize and take a snapshot of the memory and the disk, so that whenever your function that is going to request or invoke the next time, it is going to just start off from the cache instead of from reinitializing the whole thing again. One thing that we also published a couple of blog on documentation where you need to make sure that your function will work with the snap start, because let's say an example where you have some sort of a randomized thing that is utilized as a part of that your initialization, you need to make sure that is after that is going to happen during the runtime rather than the snapshot snapstart caching, right? Like, just so there is couple of code things that you might have to change. One major thing, the difference between Java and the Python is the Java one, the Python and the .NET one have a small fees for the caching and also the restoration of them. So that is a small change that you need to be conscious when you're using this feature. And this is opt-in based, so you can do it for each function. The next one, yep. So we started supporting JSON and variables for step functions. So this is going to be really helpful for customers that are using a lot of data that they need to manage how they transform the data between each step. So right now, like you will be able to define variables that can be how do I say, like, that can be read or referenced easily across the states without, you can see the example where it is going to you can reference that payload from the starting to the end with the same variable instead of like trying to manage the mapping of that. The other feature with JSON that you don't need to, an example in the screen, you can see for certain things like the check address. Like if you're trying to check email address, because JSON can support the querying using the ASL language, you will be able to write regex that will execute within the function itself instead of trying to write like a Lambda function that needs to do that calculation. So now you should be able to use JSON and be very efficient as well as reduce the cost, because you don't need to go and fire up few things to compute that validation things and stuff like that. And that's pretty much it. I want to complete this faster so that we have time to put Q&A.
All right, I think that's all the content. I hope the audience is not bored of seeing the PowerPoint slides yet. We did have some QR code, and a lot of these great releases we mentioned, We had a breakout session or a release announcement during the reInvent. So if you just Google the title that we mentioned in YouTube, I believe most of them are already uploaded. So if you want to see more, learn more detail about it or see an actual live demo, definitely go check that out. And John, back to you.
Yeah. I really wanted to thank you all. Does anybody have any questions? I just want to know when the rest of Snap start, the rest of the, I know you guys can't tell me. It's like, when are the rest going to happen? Other than just Python.
Well, talk to your account team. For some certain stances, we can review a roadmap with you.
Yes.
So
That's very exciting. Does anybody else have any questions? Yes. There is a lot more than AI, and that's always exciting. I'm the serverless girl, so I love hearing anything about our serverless features.
that's awesome. Well, I do want to call it out. A lot of the releases, and if you guys check online, it says it's in preview, especially those ones in the public preview. Definitely take advantage of that and start playing around it because those are free for use. Once we officially GA, we're going to start charging money. So right now is your best time to poke around to learn because there's no charge come with it. And the AWS team is looking for feedback. So if you do have complaints or don't like anything, hit that feedback button and send it our way.
Oh, you guys know I will.
Great.
Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you all for spending your evening with us and or day. I know some people are joining from other areas. And I guess really with that, you guys have a wonderful Thursday and hopefully a happy weekend. Thank
Thank
you
you.
all.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank
Take
you.
care.